Okay, class, welcome to this session. We're going to have now a hands-on session on this trust exercise. So our objective here is modeling by these three methods, the coordinates method, Autocad importation file, and then snap grid method and the structure wizard. So we will go first with the coordinate method. So we're gonna open this STAAD Pro. So what you can see is the startup tab. We're going to define here our say exercise 01. Okay, and then you can also set the location or the directory of your exercise. Say I'm going to place that in my folder here. Okay, there you go. So next is you set the units. So we are in SI, lengths in units, meter, and force units in terms of kilonewton. So ngayon, we're going to select here what will be our structure, whether it is space, plane, floor, or truss. Of course, this time we are going to select truss. And then as we click here next, you have the option kung ano yung unang command in the STAAD. So we will just have to press here, add beam, so finish. So by default, this is our worksheet. As we have said, this is the menu tab, and these are the icons, and then these are the commands workflow, the sub page here. As we can see, first we have to set up, and then lalabas dito yung output, then the geometry. So lalabas din yung mga needed display for each of the operations. And on that, there are sub tab here. Okay, and then accordingly, when we hover the mouse on the icons, you can see here the commands, so we'll just have to explore later. Okay, so next is we're going to go first with the setup. Okay, ito yung pinakauna, top down tayo, setup, and then the job description. So this is actually optional, but if you need to place a certain data here, say this is a job structural Mr. Paul as SDT01. So it depends on you, and then the reference, and then the rev end part. So you can also place the engineer, and then the checker, as well as the approve. So these are essential data. So you can fill this up. Okay, and then the comment here. So if you are done with this, then we can now model our truss using coordinates method. So if we can click, we can see here that if we click the geometry, yung unang lalabas is snap node beam. You can actually close this for a while, and then you can see here the nodes. So ang principle dito is that remember that the vertical is y, and then the plane is within x and z. So we are going to set here kung ano bang mga nodes nung itong exercise na to. Say we're going to set this as 0, 0, So we manually enter that 0, 0. So next node here, what would be the next node? Ito, 0, 2.4. Okay, 0 and then 2.4. By the way, to have a good view here, yung view mo dito is set on isometric view ka pa lang. So, what you do is to click this one, view from Z. Okay. So, if we're going to view it from Z, your plane is X and Y. So, Z is the third axis perpendicular to your screen. Okay. So, you can select this node. You can check the node by clicking this node's cursor. Okay. Yan. Click mo lang yan. So, yung selection, hold your mouse and then drag it. You can select here the node. Okay. Now, every now and then you can see this notification, auto-save will save your file now. Do you want to proceed? Yes. Then you just save it. You can see here, there are two nodes here kasi perpendicular siya sa X and Y. So perhaps you can temporarily delete this one and then start over again. So we are going to create the truss along XY plane. Okay. So X is going this horizontal and Y is the vertical. Z is the axis perpendicular to your screen. So, ang importante dito, you should set your nodes all positive. So, do not ever have a node with negative coordinates kasi later on it may encounter errors. Okay, so first 0 0 muna tayo, no? 0 0. Okay, so that's the node. And you can have the pan command. Ito yung you can drag your screen by pressing your mouse wheel, press nyo lang mouse wheel up and down and then left and right. You can work with that. Okay, and then for the zoom, just scroll your mouse wheel. Okay, and what would be the next node here? So Y is 0 here and X will be 2.4. Okay, that's it. And then what's next? 4.8. What's next to 4.8? 2.4 plus 4.8, 7.2. And then finally, what's the last node here? 9.6. So X is 9.6. No? So you have already established your bottom chord nodes. And then the next one, kung gusto natin magsimula sa king pose, just click here and double click, makikita mo kung anong coordinates niya. So it is on Y0 and X 4.8. We wanted another node above this one. Above that one is equal to 3.6. So basically the node here, we will maintain the value of 4.8 na X, and then yung Y natin should be 3.6. Okay, yun na. That's it. So next thing here is basically you can connect all those nodes, with add member. I think add member, add beams, you should see. So we just connect all established nodes. And then ito, may king pose tayo dito. And then here you can use this add beam between midpoints. Okay. So sorry. you can control Z if you want to undo, ano. Pwedeng gamitin ang control Z. So, add beams between midpoints. Okay. So, we're gonna click that one. Click. Okay. Okay. Add beam between midpoints. Okay, so it does not work on this bottom chord. So what you do, instead of doing that, ito na lang. Insert node tayo dito, and then add midpoint. Okay. So then you can connect that by add member. Okay. So we just connect this one. Okay. We connect that one. And then just save that. Click this one and then click here. Do you, magtatanong yan? Yes. Add midpoint lang. Then okay. So that's the way how to do that by coordinate method. Okay. So in the coordinate method, you can, or in any method, you can actually integrate some of tools, important tools or useful tools here. So say I'm going to delete this again. No. Pwede gamitin mo tong translational repeat. So say I'm going to have a 0, 0 here. Start with 0, 0. Yan. And then select this node. Okay, select that node and you can use this translational repeat. You're going to repeat that along X. Ito, you can see it in here. So, i-repeat mo yan. Parang array command to in Autocad. So, how many steps you're going to have that one? So, we have 4 steps and the default spacing is 2.4 meters. And then, ito, hindi ko muna i-check. I won't check any of this. Ano? So, you can see what will be the effect of the link step here. No? So, default spacing is 2.4. Okay. So, yan na. So, nagkaroon tayo ng nodes or repeated along x-axis with uniform spacing of 2.4. So, again, we are going to repeat that. Okay, so, nodes cursor ka, delete mo yan. And then, yan, 0, 0 muna tayo. 0, 0. And then, select this. Again, this is translational repeat. Along x, default spacing is 2.4 and the number of steps will be 4. Now, this time, i-check ko yan, link steps. No? Pag chinek mo yan, automatic may member. Okay? So, that's the use of the link steps on this translational repeat. So, you can do that also with the circular repeat. Yan, kung may radial axis ka. Okay? So, anyway, moving on, we're going to add another node here. So, actually, you can do also copy and paste. No? Bawa ito. Say itong node na to. I'll just select this node. And then, Control C, Control V. Okay? So, itataas mo to by 3.6. Okay? And then, reference point is that one. Then, okay. So, na yan. Control C, Control V. And then, 3.6. Okay. Yun. So, Control C and Control V. will be effective also. Ayan. So you can now connect your points. So ito, pwede mong gawin ganyan. Or you may opt to have a perpendicular member, for example. Perpendicular member tayo. Itong gamit nito. Add beams by perpendicular section. So, yan. Add beams by perpendicular section. Okay, so that is the coordinate method. Okay, so as you can see, wala tayong negative coordinates. As I have said, be careful because kapag may negative coordinates, you might have to deal with errors. Okay. So next modeling method is model generation by importing Autocad file. So kapag komplikado ang ating thrust, it is not practical to have coordinates method, ano? It is impractical to have coordinates method. But for the sake of demonstration, I'll just show you how to do it. So if you have an AutoCAD, just have to save that one. The first procedure is to establish your CAD drawing. You know? So I'm gonna open my CAD here. Then we start drawing here. Okay, sabi natin dito, dapat yung drawing does not lie with a negative coordinate. So first things first, set mo yung units. Ano? Dapat yung units mo should be in meters. Okay, so okay lang yan. And then, i-locate mo ngayon kung nasan yung point na 0, 0 by point command. Okay, specify a point. Say at. Yan. Or, so it's, hindi pala ano. It should be save as. Save as and then other formats. Okay, so we are going to save this as, say this is truss 01 as DXF file. Say this is 2004 DXF. Then lagay ko na lang muna sa desktop. Then save. Okay. And then proceed to STAAD Pro. And then what you do is to import 3D DXF, import, and then from your file directory location, desktop natin yan. Ito yan. Open. And then no change. Okay. So sharing violation kasi hindi ko na-close yan. Sorry. So yan. So we're gonna do it again. Import 3ddxf Trust01. Open. No change. Okay, so ito na yung trust mo. So as you can see here, kapag dinouble click mo yan, you can see the length 2.4. Okay, so double check by double clicking it, you can view the geometry property and the loading. So sa geometry, ito muna, length mo nang check mo. Okay, 2.4. Okay. So here, dapat walang negative notes, ano? So wala namang negative notes. Okay, so that's the procedure on how to do AutoCAD importation, no? So let us repeat that and then import 3ddxf, import, then get your file, open, then no change. Okay, so you set your units. Okay, there you have it. So ito na yung trust mo. Okay, so of course pag nag-import ka, of course another file yun, magre-reset lahat ng your job information and the others. Okay, so that is for CAD importation. So ito, very simple lang yung trust natin, but that is very useful, especially if your trust is a rafter type trust na maraming member. Okay. So next, okay, for the model generation by snap grid method. So let's try that one. If you're going to have a new worksheet here, say this is trust. So if you move on to the geometry, dito tayo sa geometry, ano? You can see here the snap node beam. You can set the plane you wanted to work. Say that plane is along XY, no? Tick mo lang kung XZ yun or YZ. So in this case, we need to tick it on XY. And then we're gonna set here the interval or the spacing of the construction lines. Say the construction lines, we're going to have 0.1 and 0.1. So the default here is 1 by 1. So that is the grids, and we could increase that a certain number. Okay. So when we say snap node beam, just click here and then just create your member here. Say the first member along the bottom chord. Dito natin makikita ang ating distances, ano? I'm not clicking anything yet. So yan, 3 point, you can see here, you should set that into 2.4. So setting that to 2.4. See, this is the first line. And then I think kulang na rin yung ating grids. Okay, we can also increase that one. So again, this is 2.4 meters. Width. So this will be considered as a member. Okay. So we are creating a 2.4 beam, and this spacing is actually 0.1, no? So 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So that is 2.4 meters. So another 2.4 meters, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 22, kulang pa. 2, 4, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. So this is, so I hope you got the concept of the snap node beam, but actually it is impractical to create that one. So maganda to kapag we have a 2D, we have a 3D model, and then nasa second floor ka and you need to create a a certain cantilever beam. This is quite useful, no? But to start with modeling out of this snap node beam, this impractical kasi bibilang pa ng mga grids, and then setting your grids, etc. So to complete this, we'll just have to, of course, again use tingnan mo, nagkamali pa ng length. It is 2.4 and this is 2.3. So that's the tendency in snap node beam. Okay, so what you will do, you can actually use this translational repeat by 2.4 again, and then 3 steps. So you do not have to click steps because you have already the beam. Okay, so that's it. And then 3.4. So if you want, you may employ to snap node beam. So you can do returning to snap node beam by this. So yeah. So if you need to increase that one, say if you desire to increase, say 0.2, and then you can create now 3.6 beam here by snap node beam, say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36. Okay. So that's the use of the snap node beam. Of course, you need to divide this again. Perhaps we can close this one. Okay. So we divide this by 2 at midpoint. So this one, ano, to. So you may have this one and then I'll just save this. At midpoint, and then we connect this and this one. So we divide this into midpoint. So it's just like splitting a member into 2. Okay, that's it. So a tool command for checking multiple structure and duplication can be used. So punta ka lang sa tools, check multiple structures. So far, yan lang naman yung structure mo. Wala kang ibang structure, so okay yan. And then check duplicate. So if you need to check nodes that are overlapping, so far wala naman. Pero kapag may nag-overlap na node dito, it will suggest you to merge it to the other. And then if you need to check duplicate members or check duplicate plates, okay, so those are the tools before you can proceed further. You need to check duplication of your model, whether it is a duplicated member or a duplicated joint or nodes. So basically, that should be checked immediately before loading your structure. So definitely, if you have missed that one, you may encounter errors in the results. Okay. So finally, I think we need to have the last model generation by structure wizard. So just like the GRASP software, meron din tong generation by structure wizard. Actually, if we click new here, this one says, say this is trust, setting the units. Actually, you can access that right away on the startup by clicking this open structure wizard, then finish. And then there are database na meron dito. See, we have here Pratas, Trust, Trust, Warren Trust, etc. So Bridge, say I'll just use this one. So the length is 9.6, the height is 3.6, the length is number of base along width, that is 4 actually. Perhaps we are in 2D pa lang, no? Perhaps we can set that into 0. See, or 1. See, this is 5 meters. So tools, geometry. Where was that structure wizard? So when we try to explore the structure wizard, so from new, so you trust the next, then open structure wizard, finish. Just okay that. Okay, ito pili tayo dito. So you can bring that to the, you just drag your selection. So the length is 9 point. Perhaps we do not have a length because yeah, just set a number there. And this one 3.6. The width is 9.6. The B will be 4. And actually you can set that. And if you do not have any uniform length, you can set the length. Then just okay. Number of bays along length, say just set a value. Then we apply that one. Okay, I think we might encounter errors here. So we'll just have to try that again. See, this is the roof. The length, say this is 9.6. See, we have 4 bays along length with the height of 3.6 with the width of say 5 meters. So we place a value here, though we do not need that number of bays. So apply that one, and then we have here a 3D model. Then we just close this one, and then you would we like to transfer or merge this model to STAAD02. So we say yes. Okay. This will now be our model. Actually, you can use your arrow keys to rotate your model. So here we need to delete because we are in 2D, no? Delete mo lang yan. Delete. And we also deleted this one. And then we have this. So supposedly this member is inclined at connecting at the king post. So ganun din to. Just delete this. Okay. So this will be our model by structure wizard. So from the new, or if you have already opened your STAAD, just go to run structure wizard and then drag. Actually, there are a lot of model frame, truss models, frame models, surface or plate models. Yan, may mga ganyan. Polygonal plate, circular plate, quad plate, etc. Composite models. So sa structure wizard, we can also, yung ginawa natin kanina by importation of CAD file. See? I think we start with the truss models. Ito. So, yung length, ito yung length or the bottom chord span B. Okay? 9.6 yun. Apat. Height is 3.6. Width, ito yung perpendicular to the z-axis. So, sabihin natin 10 yan at may dalawa. So, sagpa 5. So, if we need to edit that one, ito, 3.5 yun. So, hindi siya nag-coincide dito sa 10, diba? So, supposedly 8.5 to, for example. 8.5. Then, you're gonna set 3.5 yun at 5 yun. For example, yan yung nangyari. Okay? So, 3.5 and 5. So, just close this one and then, okay. So, nangyari dito, you have an existing truss. That is why, nagkaroon ka ng duplicate nodes. Okay. So, just delete this one. And then, tools. Check duplicate nodes. Okay. Tools. Check duplicate members. So, isa lang structure. So, repeat the process. Again, geometry, structure wizard, roof 9.6. There are 4 base. 3.6 yan. So, 2. Apply. Yes. Okay. So, using your arrow keys yan. Actually, 3D pala siya. And, yan, 3D siya kapag isometric. So, kapag 2D, again, we delete, use the beams cursor, select all of this, and just delete. Okay. So, this will be our truss. Okay. So, I think that's it for the modeling. So, I'm gonna give you exercise for you to work on. You may apply all of the techniques introduced for today in modeling your truss. Okay, so with this, thank you and good day.